Alhamdulillah. I know you got this, they don't like this. Alhamdulillah. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna smash your boy, guys.
So Khabib, when he weighed in, he looked very drained. There was some controversy. I guess Mike Dolce said, Khabib missed weight, and he was talking about the way that he weighed in. And it didn't go all the way over before they officially calculated the weight. So maybe you can give your opinion on that. But when I looked at Khabib, I was like, dude, he did look really drained and very unhappy. And I was like, maybe I'll change my pick. And then you just tore me a new one via text. You're like, you're an idiot.
No. So, of course, Mike Dolce inserts himself because that's what he does every time because he's a little fucking know-it-all. But I worked with him and I didn't work with him for very long, leaving it there. But here's the thing. To any layman watching that, it does look like there's an argument for that he missed weight. However, there's one vital piece of information that only UFC fighters or cornermen or whatever would know. And that is quite simply this. You have to go through the UFC first, and the UFC check your weight preliminary. Now, of course, when you got on the old-fashioned scale, right, it does that, it goes up and down. If you're heavy, it's up. If you're light, it's down, right? Yeah. And it was trending up, and he didn't wait for it to settle and things like that. He just went, yeah, you're good. Boom, there you go, right? And you're right, that does give an argument for controversy there. You can make an argument that he missed weight and that's bullshit. And maybe there was a bit of bias going on and he's very popular in that part of the world. So therefore it's a scam and all this. No, that's nonsense because what happens is when you fight for the UFC, the morning of the weigh-in, when you say that you're on weight, you have to go and get weighed by the UFC first. Okay. Some of the UFC staff members, they wear blue shirts and they're in charge of all the logistics and the weigh-ins and all that type of things. If you need anything fight week, they're the guys to bring it to you, and you've got to go see them, and you get on a digital scale backstage, and you get on that scale, and if that digital scale doesn't say that the weight is where it needs to be, then they send you off and you got to go cut weight. So there's no way that Khabib stepped on that scale without going through the preliminary weight check backstage. That one there is for the commission and for the crowd and the journalists and all the rest of it. But you do a preliminary check backstage. So based upon that knowledge, I would say that this is all bullshit. There's no conspiracy. There's no controversy there, if you ask me.
Khabib owes that dude who manned the scale on Friday.
Oh, come on. Come on, Ariel. Ariel, let me ask you something.
He was a little quick.
Ariel, the man that says what the weight is the man that has the final say. Sure. Dude made weight. Because you don't know, everybody's reacting like, oh my goodness, the scale was going up to the scale was going to go up and then go back down to the middle. It doesn't matter. That happens all the time. It goes up and down and it sways back and forth. I just can't believe all these conspiracy theorists because no one can just be, that's the knock. You guys want to try to knock that man for making weight on the dot? I'm saying, Ariel, for making weight on the dot, if he was 155 flat, which he was 155.0. That scale is going to go up, down, balance itself. So what? It didn't touch the top. The scale didn't touch the top. Once again, I got to ask people, when your eyes want you to see something bad in someone, it's going to tell you something wrong happened. So all these trolls, and I know what you're doing. You're trying to just mess with them. You don't believe this yourself. You're trying to just mess with these people on the internet. And they're going to be like, see, Ariel even said it. They're so crazy. You're trying to mess with them. But the reality is Khabib Nurmagomedov stepped on that scale at 155 pounds. When he left the hotel, I saw him. I saw him get on the digital, and he was 155, got on the doctor scale, and it was 155 pounds.
And a broken toe. I'm wondering as well, Coach, before we even get to the fight, the weight cut. I mean, it's incredibly difficult to lose that weight if you're not 100%, and also if you've got to deal with the toe and you can't run as much as you usually do. How much did it impact you guys actually trying to make weight for the event? Was there any hurdles in that regard?
No, there wasn't, and that's what shocks me. Because look, listen, this is what was going on. We were going to do the weight cut. We started Wednesday. He started Wednesday on the weight cut, and then Thursday he did a weight cut in the morning. And then we're going to do one later in the evening. But he was only 6 pounds off, right? He was 6 pounds off on Thursday morning. So he said, "Coach, I feel strong. I'm not going to do the night workout. I'm just going to go in the morning and do the weight cut and go from there." So I said, if you don't mind, I don't want to go to the final weight cut because it's too early for me. It was like 6:30 when they started the weight cut. He goes, no problem. I'm never there anyways. So all of a sudden, I get up around 9, and I said, hey, how did the weight cut go? And Omar, who I call the fixer, said, oh, perfect. Everything was great. You know, he was strong, the whole bit. So next thing you know, I get all these calls like, hey, what's going on with the weight cut? Did Khabib have problems with weight? And I'm like, what the hell are people talking about? He had no problem. He was right on point. I go, there's no way something went wrong. And then I watched the weigh-in, right? And the guys that were doing the scale thing, man, those guys were like Speedy Gonzalez. What the hell were they doing? That was so damn quick the way they did that. I would think something's up myself personally, because if you watch the weight, which I did watch, Khabib grabbed both those guys' hands, he steps on the scale, and as soon as he releases his hand, those guys are like already, it's like, what the fuck? You know? Because why did they go so fast with the scale? He was on weight. He was on point. You know, but I didn't know why I was getting all these calls, and then I looked and I go, oh, okay, that's why. But if you really, really look, you can see he was on point. But it did look suspicious, no doubt. But it wasn't his fault. That was the people doing the weigh-ins. They were doing it fast. I heard they did it for other people that fast too. So, and then also too, you know, it's like anybody knows, they weigh you before you go to the weigh-ins. They weigh you right before you go out. Okay, they weigh you, so they make sure you're on point. Number one. Number two, if Khabib was having problems with weight, why the hell would he be the first one knowing they're going to weigh him? He wouldn't want to be the first one out. He was the first one out because he was on weight and he wanted to get out of there and start eating.
Well, there you go. Thank you for clarifying that, Harv. You know, he made the weight, made it to the fight, despite all the crazy things that happened in the camp. And then before we talk about the actual fight itself and the performance.
Yeah, but he didn't get the cortisone. He didn't get no cortisone shots at all.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going into the fight with a broken bone. We couldn't train. And then finally, he had to train, bro. We had to train. So we got actually almost 2 full weeks of training. Almost two full weeks of training. So we went back to train. He really couldn't step on the foot. You know, he couldn't check, couldn't leg check, knowing full well that Justin was going to come after that leg like a mother. And I'm like, you know, the very first thing I told him, first day of camp, he's coming after your leg. If I was him, I would come after your leg. I would tear your leg up. And he's a great kicker. He's a great low leg kicker. He's coming after your leg. He's coming after your leg. And Khabib's kind of getting tired of me telling him he's coming after your leg. You know, I said, hey, that's my job. You know, I have to figure out what's the weakness on him. And I think that was one. So that was one of the areas. So anyways, long story, fast forward. So he started training, and his last sparring session, he looked fantastic. He just looked like, I said, I got Khabib back. And it took a short period of time for it to happen, Strick. It wasn't like, you know, it took time. No, man, it's like, boom, all of a sudden, fight night, I was ready, so confident. And it was all because here. And he says to me, Coach, he goes, hey, my toe is broken, but my mind's not. You know, and I said, that's good, because that meant that, you know, no matter what was going to happen, the toe wasn't going to be a factor. And we couldn't use the toe as an excuse. So if things didn't go our way, I wouldn't be talking to you about the toe. I wouldn't have even said nothing about it, because, you know, that's sour grapes, you know, because all fighters get injured. All fighters come in messed up. I'm just explaining the truth of what happened. And also there's a video that I put out there about the snake, the eagle and the snake.
Yeah.
Going back. That was a boo-boo too. That almost took us up.